Hello and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live. This is a new one for me, I think. 3 streams back to back in one day. We did an unboxing this morning. I then did an Intel special for the Patreon crew, and now I'm doing this breaking news. Yes, this is the News Burst Live, full force of podcast, obviously, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod, Diagnostic 80. The breaking news, as I was on the last stream, was that the new comic publisher has been announced for both G.I. Joe and Transformers. And we've got a bit of information, I suppose, to kind of go over, chat away with. Anybody in the comments already? Yeah, we've got a few. Michael Jean Fleming, Ryan Daly, Plastic Battles, Ed, Jason, Slade, Ed. Great to have you on, guys. Thanks for joining me to talk about the new comic publisher. Wow, out of nowhere. And this is kind of coming soon as well, like next week as well. But anyway, we'll get into the details of the news in a moment. But first, we need to switch visuals. Bang! There you go. Hello, Robert. Hello, Philly. Hello, everybody, for joining. And we're going to be talking through this news. So it's Image, Skybound. Yeah, we kind of it's almost as bad as the worst kept secret in the toy sphere, which was the Dragonfly. I mean, there's so many worst kept secrets. Dusty and the Crimson Guard for Tiger Force and Python Patrol. So many, so many. Anyway, a toy kind of mood. Hello, Travis. How you doing, buddy? I was watching your rock and roll unboxing when this popped up on my notification. Dude, I don't know if I can stand 3 mornings in a row with Diagnostic. Who can stand this crap? Anyway, I am exhausted. Guess what? I'm interviewing Brian Flynn from Super 7 shortly as well. So this is going to be a shorter episode than usual because I still have lots to sort out with that. It is a long day, and I still got to prep the weekly, guys. Come on. We're doing an unboxing in the morning. It's going to be ridiculous. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, this is the news. Image are the new comic publisher, revealed today, courtesy of Bleeding Cool. Image change, Transformers and G.I. Joe, just a visual representation, nothing from the new comics or anything just yet. But we do have this information. So thanks to Bleeding Cool, who posted their article not too long ago. Scoop Transformers and G.I. Joe at Image Comics in Void Rivals #1. So Transformers and G.I. Joe will be making their debut appearance together for Image Comics and Skybound Entertainment in Void Rivals #1, which is a completely different comic, and obviously has it's going to be introducing these 2 brands into this universe, I guess. We don't know all the details about it yet. There's some sort of there's an explanation of what the comic's about and everything, but this is like a separate comic, Void Rivals, and this is where Joe and Transformers are going to be kind of introduced. Now, apparently, comic book retailers have had this information for some time. Lots of copies have been ordered by the looks of things. But then the Diamond Comics distributor's shipment landed in certain select stores in the USA today. Bleeding Cool got the proof we were waiting on, that the Transformers and G.I. Joe will be making their debut appearance together for Image Comics and Skybound Entertainment in Void Rivals #1 out next week. And this will begin a new Skybound comic book license with Hasbro for Transformers and G.I. Joe. This comes just as the new film, Transformers Rise of the Beast, ending implies there is more to come in the form of world building. Yes, so there's a lot of crossover stuff happening with these 2 brands at the moment. Not only have we got, certain elements of Rise of the Beasts, we've got the obviously the collaborative crossovers that have kind of been very, very recent, and expecting more of those as well. And of course, this now. So I wonder if there's going to be a situation where the comics and the movies kind of become like one organism a little bit, and they start to kind of leak into each other. Gross. Probably what's going to happen anyway. They said that obviously Bleeding Cool did break the news that IDW Publishing was to lose the Transformers and then the G.I. Joe comic book rights back in November 2021, and we have been waiting ever since to work out who's the next up. And what is it? June. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Although I did think I did expect to know we would know about this in January at the latest. We soon learned that Robert Kirkman's publisher Skybound would acquire the rights, though it was never confirmed until now. Void Rivals is a new comic book by Robert Kirkman, Mateus Lopez, and Lorenzo De Felici from Image Comics and Skybound, being published next week. The true nature of which has been shrouded in mystery and was said to launch a new shared universe of storytelling. That shared universe, it seems, will contain Transformers and G.I. Joe. Expect a big display at the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con, and given the timing, I might expect a new Transformers 1 or G.I. Joe 1 comics books from Image Comics for September. Or maybe they will wait until Image Comics goes fully with Penguin Random House for distribution for the launch of both titles. Some nice extra information right there. So that's again, nice color in the story there from Bleeding Cool. I'm told that Void Rivals #1 doesn't reveal the true nature of the comic until the end, but that the 1/100 variant cover of Void Rivals #1 features both Transformers and G.I. Joe, and from then on, everything about the series will change. Might even inform movies to come, just like Dark Horse Comics' Aliens vs. Predator once did. Again, a nice bit of additional speculative color, though, from Bleeding Cool. Skybound is the company owned by Robert Kirkman, partner at Image Comics, and best known as the co-creator of The Walking Dead. He hasn't published many licensed titles, preferring creator-owned or reactor participant new properties. Could this be the beginning of something new for him? And with Marvel announcing Predator versus Wolverine, how long till we get G.I. Joe versus Invincible or Transformers versus The Walking Dead? Who else is going to be part of the shared storytelling space? Again, interesting. Now, with that said, this is Void Rivals. Probably doesn't, from what I can gather, it's a completely separate story that I imagine they'll probably go through universes and eventually like bump into these two brands and properties. Like I said, it's almost like introducing the two to Skybound to Image, and then it sounds like we'll be getting separate issues for each brand going forward. It's not going to just be a complete and utter crossover event for the rest of time, obviously. But it sounds like they will be doing crossover stuff with these two brands, and possibly, as was mentioned in the write-up, it's possible that they could, inform the films and vice versa. So maybe this is just the precipice, isn't it, of what could be something much, much bigger going forward. Ed says, IDW fumbled their original Joe continuity pretty badly. I'm excited to see what Skybound does that's new. Let Larry do his thing, sure, but give me something fresh. It sounds like there's going to be a couple of things going on there, doesn't it? It sounds like Larry's going to be continuing his thing. We kind of know that as well. We know that Larry's going to be continuing his work on the kind of forever continuity, the Marvel going into IDW continuity. A real American hero, should we just say? Would be a lot easier, Chris. So that's going to still be happening. I wonder if, we do get like a special Skybound continuity as well, where they go somewhere different. They try something different. Very interesting to see. Yes, Travis, we are aware of a cheeky homage or Easter egg, I should say, in The Rise of the Beasts. Absolutely. Talking Joe, I'm here. What's going on, Chris? And he said, I did make a bet with myself that Void Rivals would be the big secret intro. That's cool. I didn't have a clue about Void Rivals. Had no idea what it was or what it was about. So yeah, that's really cool to have, that be like the launch pad to at least like to introduce these two brands. That's kind of fun. But yeah, Image have basically got, let's put this one back up, there you go, are the publisher for the Transformers and G.I. Joe. Brilliant. Lots of questions coming in, I think. Not questions, but comments and stuff. Aaron E. Nichols says, I would love to see a Hasbro universe that honors all of the brands. I'd be actually cool to see a few different things creep into Image there if they were able to, utilize like Mask and Visionaries and stuff. I'd be interested in seeing those properties done Image as well. I think that'd be wicked. We need Zap to blow up some Decepticons. I think we'll probably see a lot of interesting crossover potential going on there, Jeremy, definitely. Thomas says, any new G.I. Joe comic needs to have Larry Hama at the helm and pick up where IDW left off. Well, that is happening. We can confirm that he has been working on the carry-on of those particular issues from 300 onwards. So he's up to like 304, was it? 303? I think 304 was the last one he was working on. So he's kind of been telling people that. Ray was not a fan of the end of A Real American Hero. With all due respect, of course, Ray. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like I wasn't like super excited about the entire kind of run, really. Like it had its ups and downs. There was at one point I was so into it, and it was around Silent Option. I thought that was phenomenal, and then I really enjoyed with IDW. I loved the kind of like return almost to special missions for a short period of time. And I mean, the ones that were like, not necessarily where it was like Duke special missions, Baroness special missions, they were fun and interesting and cool. But like there was like another phase of those, like almost like one shots while they were, it was like like flashbacks almost to lost missions and stuff like that. I was really, really enjoyed those. When it gets into the big arc and the arc doesn't necessarily seem to be going anywhere, and that's when it gets a little bit kind of like disconnected, I would say. But I love it when they do special missions based stuff, and I do hope Image / Skybound do some sort of Untold Tales. Thank you, Talking Joe. If they do some sort of like special missions or Untold Tales sort of vibe. And yeah, it was 304 was the last update, wasn't it, that Larry's working on. Thank you very much for that. Robert H says, I feel like they shouldn't be working with Image, given that McFarlane is the current CEO there, and he always trash talks about Hasbro's IPs and brands in interviews to try and sell his own toys. That's an interesting point of view, Robert H. I wasn't really aware of that he would do that. Yeah, I wasn't aware. That's an interesting point to make. Thank you very much for your comment. Robert says, if this crossover happens, Paramount still can't claim that The Rise of the Beasts is a reboot, since they can no longer explain why G.I. Joe are unaware of the Transformers. No idea, Robert. Well, I mean, when it comes to Transformers movies, I don't think continuity really makes much of a care to anybody. I don't think anyone gives a flying weasel what the continuity is in Transformers movies, because it just seems to go all over the place with that. Craig says, I'd like to see the UK Action Force turn up in some form in any future Joe comics. Action Force Redux is doing a great run of continuity from the original Bath comics. Would be great to see a crossover happen. Who doesn't love the Red Shadows? Indeed, Craig. Or just, like have Larry slip him in there again, like little Robo Skulls here, little Red Shadows there. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. Oh, Michael says, Larry is great at single issue stories or short arcs, but he needs to avoid event arcs or have editorial oversight so that he doesn't write himself into corners as he is wont to do. He does have that kind of like style, doesn't he, of like kind of just doesn't really know what the next issue is going to be like. So he kind of is making up as he goes along. I mean, isn't everybody? Even when you're writing it, you're technically making it up as you go along. But his is more of kind of like a natural progression, isn't it? Like, oh, then I guess this is going to happen. But I do feel in a similar vein there, actually, Michael. I absolutely love his one-shots so much. There's always he's so good at telling a story in such a combined space. Like file cards, for example, the absolute godfather of bio writing, in my opinion. Like his file cards are some of the greatest G.I. Joe fiction or G.I. Joe, narrative ever, because it literally infuses every character with personality, history in such a small space too. It's incredible. And yeah, I think shorter arcs, shorter issue stories, and file cards. There is nobody better, in my opinion, than Larry. He is an absolute genius when it comes to that. Is there a huge chance for new writers or artists to get hired for G.I. Joe comics? Absolutely. That's always the case, I believe. It's just a matter of contacting the right people. I know for a fact that a lot of artists and writers will go to a lot of comic conventions and they will speak to publishers directly at those shows, and they'll like show them like portfolios and stuff like that. I know some people do like have a section of time where they take like not meetings necessarily, but they can organize some sort of kind of like time to like go over certain things. That certainly was the case in the past. I'm not sure how viable or practical that is nowadays, but alternatively, yeah, it's just a matter of getting out there and trying to reach out to those kind of companies to try and get that work. But absolutely, that's always the case. I believe Toy Bounty Hunter, there will be like a Larry thing going on, but then there'll also be a new thing going on as well. So there'll be two options you can choose from there. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well that is effectively the news for today. Yes, Image Skybound are the new comic publisher, not only for G.I. Joe but also for Transformers. Both properties will be showing up in the new comic Void Rivals issue 1, and apparently that the crossover continues into later issues up to like issue 4, I think, or issue 3 they had on the on the listings with a bit of information on it. So it might be worth picking Void Rivals up just to see how the Transformers and G.I. Joe are incorporated into it. Or if indeed it's some sort of like subplot or some sort of like extra, back issue kind of, like at the end of the issue, there's like a little, almost like a promotional tool. I'm not really sure exactly, but it sounds like they're going to be merging it in. There's also a variant cover as well, as Mark is letting us know. I did talk about the Void Rivals spoiler variant cover, which won't be released until June 4th release date. Yes, I did talk about that. Talking Joe, thank you. And it is rumored to be a Transformers G.I. Joe cover. Yes, potentially, which is also what was said in the Bleeding Cool article. Toy Bounty Hunter says, also real quick, Dragonfly 12k, less than 1,000 to go to tier 1. Absolutely. Let's get that Night Force ripcord unlocked, and hopefully hopefully that happens tomorrow, so I don't have to do another news burst today. Lots to do, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. It's going to be an incredibly busy month still, but effectively we are dealing with Image is the new comic publisher for Transformers and G.I. Joe. Right, let's quickly transition into regular. Boom. Thank you very much for jumping on, guys. We'll hang on a little bit if there are any other questions that kind of pop up, but it's only a little one. It's only a shorty this time. You're welcome, LF4. I came in late. Thank you for the summary. No problem. Hopefully that happens today so we can cover it tomorrow. Hopefully not, Travis. I've got to do all the prep, man. It takes ages. Ed says, you heard him, folks. Let's get those orders in and get Chris back here for 2 p.m. I can't do 2 p.m. 2 p.m. I'm busy. We've got a date with Brian Flynn of Super 7. So I will be getting prepared for that now, between now and then. Thank you guys very much for joining me while we talked comic publisher for G.I. Joe and Transformers. Like I said, loads more to come. Tomorrow morning, we've got an unboxing of Shipwreck, followed by the weekly. So it's going to be, that'll be about 8. Then at 10, we've got the Full Force Weekly, EST that is. And then, I imagine loads more stuff is going to be happening. So I'll just have to be reacting to it. In any case, have a great day. Have a great weekend. If you're at Joe Fest, have a great Joe Fest. If you're anywhere else, have a great anywhere else. I will see you on the next one, which is probably in the next 10 seconds. And after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, full force. See you later. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.